Welcome to an explanation of how to use Kilpatrick's Phonological Awareness Program. Kilpatrick's Phonological Awareness Program comes from this book, Equipped for Reading Success, which can be found in each of the special education classrooms in each of the schools in Madison School District. This video is not meant to replace the information found in this book, but it gives some guidance to you for how you could use this book to help children with phonological awareness. Now, the first thing we need to do when using a phonological awareness program is to assess, is there really a phonological awareness problem? Using Kilpatrick's program, there are two ways you can do this. The first way is a free and formal assessment, which can be found at equipforreadingsuccess.com, and it's called the PASS test. And on that website, you can download the test and a copy of instructions that you'll need for doing the formal. Now, this formal test is not a norm reference test, but it still can be used as an informal screener, a diagnostic assessment, and a progress monitor. It is currently on the state of Idaho's list of recommended dyslexia screeners. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can use Kilpatrick's program to do an informal phonological awareness assessment. And then I will show you how you can use these results to help you guide your instruction for using Kilpatrick's 1-minute activities to help children who may have a phonological awareness problem. Now, I'm going to recommend to you to go to read chapter 11 of Kilpatrick's book and read more details concerning how to give a formal or an informal phonological awareness test. Now, first turn to page 127 in Kilpatrick's book, and you will see this. You're going to start your assessment here. You can use the book, or we have some of them taken out and bound like this in an easier format. You can use either one of those. Now, on the next page, and at the beginning of each new section, you're going to see some instructions like this for each new level of phonological awareness abilities. There will be some special administration considers that you will need to read for each level as you do this phonological awareness test, or as you're helping a child with their phonological awareness needs. Now, look at the next page, and you will see a group of word lists. Each list gives 10 examples of that phonological awareness skill. At the top of the page, you will see directions of what you will say to the child. You say this to the child and then give him 3 or 4 different words to see how proficient they are at this level. Now, what you're really doing here is you're trying to look for that child's instructional level. You're looking for their strengths and weaknesses, and you're looking for so that this can be used to guide your instruction. Now, a child's instructional level doesn't look like this. This would be more frustration level. A child's instructional level would look more like this. And you're looking at specifically 2 things. You're first looking for the right answer, but you're also looking for the rate at which the child gives you the answer. If the child is pausing to get that right answer and that child is not, then that child is not really performing that skill fluently. That child should be able to give the right answer consistently in about 3 seconds. So testing a child may look like this. You could say to the child, say birthday. They then need to say birthday, and then you say, don't say birth. What's left? And they'll say day. And then you say daytime. Say daytime. They say daytime. Don't say day. What's left? Time. Do that about 3 or 4. If they can easily do it, you know that's not their instructional level. So then you turn to the next level, and you try it again. Let's just say I go to level F1. I'll say has, and they say has. I said, don't say ha, and they'll say as. Say lead. They say lead. Don't say ooh. What's left? Ed. If they can do 3, 4, that's not their instructional level. And you keep going on to this, but let's say you get to this level, maybe G1 level, when you're talking about onset and rhymes. And you'll say would, and they say would. Now instead of w, put a g there, and they just go would, or would. I see that one a lot. That means this probably is their instructional level. Or if they could get it, but it takes them, for like example this, say would. Don't say the w, say the g, and they go, good. That's still probably their instructional level. They don't have it fluently. And so then, that's where you're going to start working with them, and they would be on a G1 level. Now, so you have to say, what am I going to do once I find that this is their instructional level? Well, you can look, Kilpatricks suggests that you can work on they can have actually 2 instructional levels. One level is where you're working on the automaticity of their word and what they can do in their phonological awareness. But the other level is where you're looking at, they have to actually learn that skill. So they could be working at 2 levels. For example, if they're working at that skill, you might have to do this. Say they have a problem with F1, and you say ledge. Say ledge, they say ledge, and you say, now take off the what's left, and they're not for sure. When working with them, then you're going to have to use manipulatives. You're going to have to use manipulatives to have them help them. So you could use your hand. So you could say ledge, let me show you. Make sure they use their hand, not just your hand. You say, let's do the sounds, and they'll represent our fingers. This one will represent the first sound. Edge. These ones represent others. Edge. And have them do it and say it over and over. Edge. Then have them physically take away that What's left? Edge. Have them do that for a while. As they do that for a while, they'll get better at it. Then you can start scaffolding them away from those manipulatives. And they do the same thing, but maybe they don't use their hands, they just look at your hands. And then you take away your hands, and after a couple of days, they'll be able to do it by themselves. They won't be doing it fluently, but then after a couple of days more after that, you'll see that they will do it fluently. And I love doing it this way because they can actually see themselves learn and see themselves getting smarter. So you can use hands, but another thing you could use is actually some manipulatives, like these erasers. So say you're working on a phonemic awareness skill where you're trying to move and change out and substitute that first letter. So you might tell them hat, say hat, and they say hat. Now change the h with the and they're having trouble doing it. So you get 3 erasers that represent each sound. Ha, at, ha, at. Have them touch the erasers and say the sounds. Then have them physically move that H sound, the first phoneme, and then put in a different eraser that represents that sound, and see if they can do it that way. Another great research-based thing you could do is you can use the letters. You could use little tiles or little magnetic letters that represent hat and actually take it out and put an M there. Just realize this, if you're using it, you're using a scaffold. And once they do that, they eventually have to take those letters away. You have to take the manipulatives away slowly so that they can do it fluently before you move on to the next skill. They have to be able to do it fluently. But to use those letters as a scaffold is a great idea. Now, Dr. Kilpatrick does suggest this. We do it for about 10 minutes. Don't do it more than 10 minutes with a child. And then he also suggests this. It really should be done 3 times a day. Now, this can be tricky. So you might have to enlist helpers or parents, and sometimes they might have to be able to do it at home if you can get that together. In working with small groups of children like this, you might want to do it on a game board, where every time they get a right answer, they get to move their piece towards the end of the game. Another way that they like to do it is every time they get a right answer, they could be building a tower, and they could see how high and how many right answers they can get before your instructional time is over. Now, when working with a small group of children that are working at different phonemic level abilities, you can still differentiate your instruction to the different abilities. So when you have a book like this and you have it down, as you go to the different children to give them words, you could put a Post-it note in the different areas of this book and just tab over to that letter to give that child their word, and their name would be at the top of the Post-it note, so you can have exactly what they need in their phonemic awareness abilities and give them some differentiated instruction. Any questions, any comments, anytime you need any help with this, please ask one of your instructional coaches.